Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Today we're going to go over some tools. I've been asked a bunch of times what I like to use, what I don't like to use. And we've got a couple new pieces in, a couple cheap pieces in, a couple expensive pieces. So we'll just go over what we use, how I use them, and what works for me. Might not be what works for you, or what works for you might be something I need to know about. So let me know what kind of stuff you guys like to use. But we've got, this is a Fordham number 28 handpiece. These are rather expensive. They're anywhere from $60 to $80. You can machine this lip off right here to get further into the cylinders. But I haven't bothered yet, because one thing I like to do is I found these cheaper burrs. These are 4 inches long, and I just snip the shanks to get them the right length. There's only a couple. We'll go over the hand pieces that we use every day, and we'll show off these couple new ones we got. So like I said, this one here is Fordham number 28. Nice, slim, easy to handle, pretty comfortable. These are your generic drill chuck. They're a larger diameter, but they are more versatile. You can open that chuck up and they'll hold pretty much any size burr. But they're not quite as comfy when you're grinding all day. But that's what I started with. That's what I got used to. So I do use them for quite a few things. I'll put my stones in them to put the bevels and chamfers on. Or I'll put the mandrel in if I have to clean a cylinder, because this will fit the larger drill chuck. But most everybody knows the straight hand pieces. Those work well. Opening up the exhaust ports, opening up the intake ports. Now you can, if you're very careful, I don't even think I have one here. Here's one. You can use a small cutoff wheel if you're very careful and go in and raise your transfers. Now you need to make sure the wheel's the right diameter to where you're not cutting all over the plating. But if you are going to do that, like I said, very, very careful, because if it jumps out of that port, it'll do a few laps around that plating before you know it. But that's where these come in. The right angle tool to get right in and work those upper transfers. Not everything needs to be worked, but if you're doing machine work, lowering the cylinder, you need to get that transfer duration back up to where we're really going to make some power. So that's where these right angles come in. This is the CC Specialty 182. These, I want to say, are running right around $525 right now. So that's a pretty expensive handpiece. And we got these ones. These are the ultra cheap. You can get them on Alibaba or whatever. 90-degree handpiece. I got a burr in this one. This one's for spares, just in case something happens to my CCs. But these are anywhere from $75 to $125. And they come with one collet, a 3mm collet, and a handful of these sanding pads. And a couple of wrenches to tighten it. Now, like I said, there's no through hole on this, so you'd have to shorten your burrs to get what length you wanted. And if you look, that head is actually pretty good size. So some of these smaller cylinders, by the time you get the head, the collet, and the burr, it's going to be hard to get in there. Let me pull this out. Let's get this burr out of here real quick. So with no burr, like I said, you have room, you can do it, it does fit. This is a 4910 cylinder. But to get some of the angles to really get back in there, It's going to be kind of difficult with this one, but it can be done. People do it all the time, so it can be done. But like I said, that's a $100 kit. A lot of times these come straight from China, so it could be a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks. Maybe they forget to ship it. That does happen. But that's definitely the cheapest option. And we've got a new option in between, and this will be my first time trying it. Now this is from Sean at Lucky Dog Manufacturing. I'll put a link in there. He makes these handles to go on these contra-angle dentist handpieces. His kit comes just like this, with this nice single cut burr ready to go, a spare head, and a football shaped diamond stone. I'll show you this stuff up closer. But his kit's right around $250. Kind of in between, but this nice small head, you can get right in there, get all sorts of angles on these cylinders. They will go up to the bigger ones, but nice rubber grip on the handle. He makes these handles right there in-house. Makes the handles, makes the shafts to adapt these heads to. Same thing. And it already comes with an extra head, but you're ready to go to town. So this is another option, and we'll give it a try right here. This will be my first time ever using it. Just clips onto your hanging motor. Clip it on. Fits pretty good. Let's see what we got. This one claims 18,000 RPM. I don't really think it's that high, but Arc Precision USA is what this hanging motor is. Been using this one the last few years. This was my first one. They claim 18,000 as well. And this is a ARBE, ARB, or ARB, however you want to call it. I've had that motor for 5 or 6 years now. They both treat me well. But let's see how this one sounds. Let's go full throttle. Sounds about like normal. My cable's getting a little wore, so that's what I hear and feel. But the head feels smooth, everything feels good. Now this burr is a touch larger than what I'd use, but it works real well in these echo ports. Let me go in and see if I can get that one dug out. We'll see how this holds up. Get our handy dandy streamlight in there. Now if anybody's wondering, this is called the Stylus Reach by Streamlight. 1233097. This fits in the 10mm spark plug holes. The only thing I don't like about it is it uses quadruple A batteries. Those are a little hard to come by at your grocery store. But we can order them in. So let me raise this upper and we'll see how this one does. So far, I think I might ask him what this rubber grip is and put on my other ones. It's kind of nice. Almost. Definitely nice burn. It's a little bit finer than I'm used to for these sports. Alright, that's 95% roughed in. That's definitely a large single cut burr. Feels pretty good. But these are a tiny little head. It's got a little bit of heat into it, that's to be expected. But you want to be very careful stripping these gears out in here, just because that is, like I said, these are dentist handpieces. These heads are designed to grind teeth, not cylinders. So you got to be a little bit careful with it. I don't want to break it very first time, but I feel like I have to definitely be a little more ginger with this one than the CC one. Now I haven't used the China ones. I haven't used these ones hardly for anything at all just because they're so big. I mean, look at the size difference. So they work, but I like to get in there. I really like to hook the ports, get the angles, match everything. And honestly, I could see myself using this one. I'll probably shorten this burr, but I can see myself using this one for smaller top handle cylinders, the 2511s. Definitely could use something like this. Shorten this burr just a touch more. Now these, here, let me blow this cylinder out and I'll show you. That's raised on the angle, all with that handpiece. That's what we just wet. But between the burr and the handpiece, being able to get in there, blend everything in, definitely has a place in grinding these cylinders. So let me grab it real quick. I'll show you up close that handpiece. There it is. There's the full handpiece. It's a nice comfy rubber grip, double angle. These are latch link style burr. Right there you can see. It's got the groove with the flat to drive it. He modifies these. So that's a nice single cut burr. Definitely plenty aggressive for this size head. But they just go in, you find the flat spot, and they click in like so. Here's the other head that comes with, and then this one also comes with a football. And also comes with a football diamond burr for deburring. You can use these to grind and shape ports too, but I stick with the burrs for that. So for the $250, you get the two burrs, the complete handpiece with the head, and a spare head. So that's definitely worth looking into. Like I said, this is my first time using one, and I'm definitely glad that I got one. Just for, like I said, I probably won't use it on these big giant 56, 58 millimeter cylinders. But some of these smaller cylinders that I want to get in there and really angle and shape the ports, definitely something to look into. Now I'll leave a link to these down in the video description. He's got spare parts, he's got spare burrs, everything else. So definitely go check it out if you're in the market for a small handpiece or a right angle handpiece. And like I said, these straight ones work. CC Specialty is really nice. CC Specialty also has a smaller 90-degree handpiece with a smaller head. Oh, one other thing I need to mention about these. They do use a smaller, it is a latch and link style burr, but it's a smaller diameter. It's 3/32 shank, where most all the other ones we use are 1/8 inch or 3 millimeter. Now with CC Specialty being the collet style, you do have to make sure if you're getting 3 millimeter burrs, so you get a 3 millimeter collet, because they won't work with the 1/8 inch, and vice versa. And if they do work, they'll work until the first time you slip it, then it'll mess up the collet, and then they don't grab as well again. But that's the CC right angle. That's the Lucky Dog angle tool. And this is the Chinese angle tool. They all do their jobs. Some fit and feel a little bit better. But I just want to show everybody the new toy and the old tried and true. The normal procedure, for those that were asking, is the Fordham number 28 with the appropriate burr. Either a longer shank, this one's full length. I don't normally run the full length ones, but a longer shank That way I can really get in here and size and shape the ports, the intake and exhaust, and the transfers. Then after that, I use my angle tools, get the upper transfers. Once those are done, I just use a split mandrel and a piece of paper. I use 80 grit. Wrap it up on the split mandrel. Just wrap it up on the mandrel. Put in the exhaust. Polish it up. Nice thing about 80 grit is it will shape that port just a little bit. So if you don't want to go higher, be very careful. But it'll smooth it, it'll shape it, it'll blend it. And by the time it wears down a little bit, it leaves a real nice finish. I leave my exhaust ports in 80 grit. And then I go through, where did it go? Right here. I'll use the diamond stone to add my chamfer bevel on top of the ports. Don't want to snag a ring. And after that, go through with some 320 on my finger, put in the ports, clean them all up. But I'm just trying to answer a few questions I've seen in the comments or in emails. What kind of right angle tools? What kind of hand pieces? What kind of motors? Now this setup here, these are a couple bar mats, anti-spill mats, rubber mats. They got the pegs. All the chips fall in the pegs. And I kind of like the little pegs because the fins will go down and it'll help me lock the cylinder. The vibration goes into the rubber instead of my hands. I don't have to worry about getting my shirt or my pant leg wrapped up in there and snapping a cable. But my motors, they're just the cheap motors. Nothing special here. Been going on a few years. You can get them online, get them Harbor Freight, and you can also get the more expensive Fordham. They have more power. They have more RPM. Some of them even have reverse. That is one thing that would be handy is left-handed burrs to do the opposite side transfer port. One side's real comfy, real easy. The opposite side, you're climbing, it wants to jump and chatter and stutter. So a left hand would be handy for that. But then you need left-hand burrs. Keep them all separate. I wanted to show off the porting tools that I use, my messy little porting bench. And I really wanted to show off a new option for people getting into this. I realize not everybody wants to drop $500 on a right angle, $100, $200 on a motor, hundreds of dollars into burrs. You know, you can get a pretty penny wrapped up into these in a hurry. But if you've already got a motor, got a couple straight hand pieces, want to go to the next level with a 90-degree tool, these ones from Sean at Lucky Dog, definitely worth looking into. Look into them, try them out. Like I said, well, let me know what kind of tools you guys use. Leave a comment, let me know if this was helpful. Hopefully you enjoy. And thanks a lot, everyone.